We were here that morning checking our vehicles when the job came over the radio. And immediately we just started loading additional equipment onto the trucks. And we just told the guys as they left, they'd be careful. And Wally just turned around, yeah, we'll be okay, don't worry about it. I was trying to give him a little advice about, the fire and all of that. And he said, all right there, Chief, don't worry about me, I'll be fine. It was like he made fun of me, sort of, so. And that's kind of what I remember him saying to me as he ran out. So he even left here, joking around and laughing.
We're being formed up into different rescue teams. Myself and Mike Garcia, we're in Team 5. I believe Jerome and Wally were in Team 3 with Sergeant Coughlin and the other guys from 4 truck. And they were already inside one of the towers, or they were heading to, as we were being split up into teams. We were heading to the North Tower, Tower 1, but they were already inside Tower 2. One of the guys looked up and said, it's coming down. My first thought was survival instinct. It wasn't about my family or anything else. And then it turned to, man, I'm going to be buried by 110 stories worth of stuff, and no one's going to know where we are, because no one really did know where we were at the time, because we were completely on our own. We kind of found a way to get down into the street level, since the Trade Center concourse was about 2 stories above ground level. So we found a stairway that was leading down from building number 5. It would lead out into Church and Vesey streets. We were telling the civilians as they were streaming out, approximately about 100 to 200 people, maybe a little more because we lost count. We were just kind of waving them through like traffic. Approximately 26 or 28 minutes after the first tower had fallen, once again we heard the second tower start to fall, similar to the first tower. We heard the familiar debris falling, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. It was 10 seconds long, but it seemed like it was 10 hours long. We've all seen the visions of the clouds of smoke, coming from blocks away and people running away from it. But we were at the epicenter of that, and we couldn't go anywhere. We weaseled our way through the streets and the burning cars with the rest of our team, and we found refuge in a church. And that's when it kind of really hit us then. We found holy water. That was the only water we could find, and we just started putting holy water in our eyes and just wiping our faces off, because it was so burning we couldn't even see. They were just encrusted, and we couldn't see how far the towers had fallen because of all the smoke. And I had thought maybe they just came down a little bit. Maybe they just came down to where the planes hit, and our guys would be okay, because I knew they didn't get up that far that fast. But they said no, they're completely down. Aviation told us they're down, and that's when it kind of struck us, and we were just in shock. We just kind of wanted to change out our bottles and go back in after our guys.
We were getting mixed reports of who was on the missing list. Periodically at the mobilization point, they would try to get information of who was on the teams, where they were, what their location was. Originally, Dave and Mike were on the missing list, and we didn't find out till they came strolling back at about midnight, I guess, that night, covered in dust, that they were all right. So it was all through the day just utter chaos.
I didn't refuse to believe that, our guys could possibly have gotten killed there. It was just in the back of your mind, but you just hold it back, because knowing Wally, knowing Jerome, and knowing Vincent, it's the guys that, they're gonna get out of there. And I had that confidence for at least 2 weeks, where you had this hope that they're gonna make it out of there.
They were approximately around the 20th floor, we figure. Their last transmission was approximately the 20th floor.
One of the reasons we fully expected to find and rescue some of them, I expected them to be found and rescued, was that they are so resourceful. They had so much experience. They had that drive to survive. They had that drive to continue on. Just wasn't in the cards for him, this particular assignment. But they will be missed. I was in emergency for 18 years, and I will be the first one to say I haven't seen everything, but I think I've been around the block a few times. And Wally was an outdoorsman. The chicken found its way into the locker room in the basement of the 41st Precinct. The next thing, he's up there, his arm is swinging, and ramp, he's got the chicken in his hand. Wally takes this chicken, stretches a wing out, somehow or other tucks her head under the wing, puts the wing back over the head, and just makes 3 little circles, and the chicken goes unconscious. Now, I'm standing there looking at this, "What'd you do to the chicken? I thought he killed it. I thought he snapped his neck." "No, I just put him to sleep." He put the chicken out the window, the same way it came in. A few minutes later, the chicken is up, shakes itself off, and off into the sunset, goes back home. Everybody in the precinct, all the people that were there and witnessed this are amazed. "Oh, you guys are trained in this?" And they come to me because I'm the older member of the team, and you're not going to hear from me that I didn't know what he was doing, but I just went along with the program. Rest assured, as soon as we got out to the truck and we were alone, "Wally, what the hell did you do to the chicken?" And he explained to me that the size of the brain on a chicken, if it's inverted, it becomes disoriented, and the swinging it around makes it just pass out temporarily. It has something to do with circulation. I'm supposed to be training him, and yet he showed me something that was amazing. He was that way with animals. That was Wally's, one of his claims to fame.
Wally worked in the 4-7 with me, and then he came to emergency, and it was great to have someone here that you knew, a familiar face, because you're coming to a new place and you're the new guy, and you're the new guy. You don't know anybody. It was great to have Wally here, at least someone that knew your first name instead of, somebody, "Hey, new guy," Him and Jerome were two guys that I could thank for taking care of me. I was the baby, These guys their job was basically to take care of me. And that's the way they saw it. Wally made sure that I had a raincoat when I got here. One of the retired guys had left him an extra raincoat, and he gave it to me right away. When I got here, he got me my locker here. They were the best teachers in the world. That's how I got through that day.
One day, a stray dog just happened to be walking by quarters, and a couple of guys from the other squads decided to bring him in. We didn't really know what we were going to do with him. Wally saw this dog, fell in love with it immediately, and began a campaign to make this dog Truck 3's mascot. 2.5 years later now, Midnight's still here, and she was Wally's dog. And it's, I guess, a little part of Wally, a little reminder of Wally that we have is that dog. You see the dog right away, people think of him. She misses him though. In the beginning, a couple of months ago when it first happened, she was acting a little strange, and we helped her through it. The first time after September 11th, I brought Midnight home for the weekend. She ran right into the backyard and ran down the stairs to Wally's apartment entrance. And she was jumping up on the door, scratching away at the door. And I just stood there and watched. It was really sad to see. And it kind of hit me hard that day when I saw it. It was just sad watching her automatically run down to his door. It was almost like when I brought her home in front of the house, she was, her ears went up. She was like, "Yeah, hey, man, I'm gonna see my pal." And she ran from my car, ran right into the backyard to his apartment door. And I had to call her up the stairs, and she just looked at me, call her upstairs, and run into the house. But that kind of hit me hard that day.
When he first came into the unit, it became my assignment to sort of help him in his transition from patrol to emergency. You work with the person every day, you start to become familiar with them, their family situation, their personal life, and vice versa. We actually became family. He was like a brother to me. I'm a good deal older than he was. He was like a son. My tenure with the military brought me to service overseas. He got to know how I felt and how I had gone through the Vietnam experience. And I had always wanted to go to the Vietnam Memorial. I was never able to do it early on because I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I had occasion to be there in Washington, and I did go, and I had seen a print of the wall with a veteran with his hand on it, and I wanted to purchase that portrait, that drawing, that picture. In conversation, I guess it came out and he remembered that. And one day, he met me in the parking lot and he told me, I have something for you. I need you to come over to the car. He brings me to his car and he unwraps this picture. I have no idea. And it touched me. That was Wally.